All right, friends, after reading the two examples at the end of the first podcast on section 2.8 of the Algebra 2 book, you should be able to graph these two successfully. Remember, you're worried about A, where the line is, that's what you already knew. Is it a solid or a dashed line? And which side of the line do I shade on? So these are the things we're trying to get to. This and the other sample problems were attached to the email I sent you. So you should be able to print this out and actually do this before tomorrow's class. Okay, so take a shot at that. You should also be able to do this one, again, attached to the email. So what I want to do right now is just walk through how to do one quickly, and I'll do one on the calculator just to show you how it rolls. All right, friends, watch this carefully because this is the stuff you got to know how to do by hand. So I look at my inequality, and because it's written in general form, I'm going to put a 0 in for x. When I put a 0 in for x right here, this goes out, and I get a negative 2y equals 4, so y has to be negative 2. So that's 1 point. Point 0, negative 2. Next thing I'm going to do is put in a 0 for y. When I put in the 0 for y, this whole term disappears, and I get negative 6x is less than or equal to 4. If I divide both sides by negative 6, I'm going to get negative 2/3 if I simplify, okay, because I'm going to get 4 over negative 6, and that's going to reduce to negative 2/3. That's where that number came from. So I put this spot on, which is negative 2/3. Let's say right there, and 0. And now I've got two lines, 2 points that I can draw my line from, and I draw the line. Now, this is a solid line because it's a less than equal to sign. And now I got a shade. So what I'm going to do is pick a test point or a lattice point, okay? And I'm going to ask the question, is this point, and I'm going to always use 0, 0 unless 0, 0 is on the line. So is this point a solution to this or not? So when I plug it in, I'm going to get negative 6, 0 minus 2 times 0 is less than or equal to 4. And when I do this out, I'm going to get 0 is less than or equal to 4. And that is true. And because it's a true statement, I'm going to shade everything on the same side as that line. So do this in steps. Graph the line, do dash or solid, and then shade. Don't try to do the whole thing at once. Do one thing at a time. Now, another way to approach this problem is to rewrite it in slope-intercept form and punch it right in the graphing calculator. So when I do this, I'm going to add the 6x to both sides. And then I'm going to divide everything by negative 2. And now, review bit, right? When I divide or multiply by negative, I have to reverse the inequality sign. And that's going to leave me with y is greater than or equal to positive 3 minus 2. So this equation now is now the same as this equation up top. Open your calculator. Clear. And let's just make sure that all your stat plots are off before we start graphing, because that could mess us up. So second stat plot, hit the number 4 and enter, and then all your stat plots will be off. Go into y equals, and notice all my equations are gone. If yours aren't, you'd hit the clear button, and I'm simply going to say that y is 3x minus 2. That's my line. And because this is in the form y is greater than or equal to, I can actually have the calculator shade for me. So I left arrow over to the beginning of the line, and because it's greater than, it's going to shade above. So if I start hitting enter, I get a bold line, and then I get shade above. That's what I want. And so if I at this point hit zoom 6, I get the line graphed with the shading. Now let's just review and make this window exactly like the one on the screen. You can check the keystrokes, but I hit the window key, and notice the x's go from negative 4 to positive 4, as do the y's. And when I hit the graph, I now get a window on my screen that looks exactly like the one on the box. At this point, you should notice a problem with what I've just shown you. And I will have a special prize for anyone who can identify the problem that's there. We'll see you in class tomorrow.